Hello and welcome to the new episode of Recap 2024 series of Drishti IAS English. I am Aisha and this is the new episode of the subject Science and Technology. And the Recap 2024 series is your one-stop solution for all the major updates which has taken place in the year 2024. And this episode talks about Science and Technology section, important from General Studies paper 3. And if we talk about the prelims aspect, then this is the paper or this is the subject from where you can expect around 8 to 10 questions. So the applied part is also important and the static part is also important. So let's begin. So first topic is GSAT 20, GSAT N2 aboard SpaceX Falcon 9. So whenever we talk about SpaceX, the owner of the SpaceX is a very famous personality and one of the richest people on this planet living. So tell me in the comment section who's the owner of the SpaceX. So let us talk about that the commercial arm of ISRO, which is the Indian Space Research Organization. So the commercial arm is named as New Space India Limited. Commercial arm of ISRO is New Space India Limited, and the New Space India Limited has launched GSAT 20, that is GSAT N2 aboard SpaceX Falcon 9 on November 18, 2024. So the GSAT 20 was on Falcon 9 of SpaceX. Then the Falcon 9 is the world's first orbital class reusable. Important term here is reusable two-stage rocket designed and manufactured by the SpaceX. So Falcon 9 rocket manufactured by SpaceX. Commercial arm of ISRO is New Space India Limited, launched GSAT aboard SpaceX Falcon 9. Important point that Falcon 9 is world's first orbital class reusable. Now what is the meaning of the word reusable? Reusable means that this rocket can be used for multiple purposes. Like for example, if the rocket is going up in the space, then the same rocket can be used to bring back things from space, and the parts of the rocket can be used in other aspects or in other missions also. Like for example the launcher, like for example the batteries. So they can be reused again and again. So important point is to know that what is the meaning of the term reusable. Then GSAT is a high throughput Ka band satellite. It is a Ka band satellite, provides high speed broadband internet connectivity, digital video transmission and audio transmission. So the basic aim is to improve the internet connectivity, that is to improve communications. It was launched to address the growing broadband communication needs of India, because India is such a diverse country. We need a large, effective and efficient broadband. Then NSIL, incorporated on 6th March 2019 under the Companies Act 2013, is a wholly owned Government of India company. The question can be asked from this: NSIL was made under which act? So that is Companies Act 2013, and it is a wholly owned Government of India company, and it comes under the administrative control of the Department of Space. Department of Space. Now, if we talk about NSIL, then it is a public sector enterprise incorporated as a new commercial arm of the Department of Space. Then to harness India's space power commercially. So this word is also important, commercial arm. Then to spearhead commercialization of space products, including production of launch vehicle, transfer of technologies and marketing of space products, so that commercialization aspects can be made better. Then the primary responsibility is enabling Indian industries to take up high technology space related activities, so that India can, even though the ISRO of India, which is the space agency of India, that is ISRO, is performing very well and is matching the global standards, so that India can even move further with regard to its space sector. Now coming to the second topic of the day, and that is India joins SKAO, and SKAO is square kilometer array observatory as a full member. So now India has become a full member of SKAO. So India has formally joined the SKAO Council as a member in the year 2024. This can be asked in the examination. SKAO is intergovernmental organization. It means different governments of different companies are coming into it, and the aim is to build and operate cutting edge radio telescopes. You need to remember these points, that it is related to radio telescopes. Then the global headquarters is located in the Jodrell Bank Observatory, UK. Headquarters is United Kingdom. Remember the keywords, because it is the keywords which will play a major role in the prelims examination. And the project, what does the project do? So the project will have an array of thousands of antennas to be installed in remote radio quiet locations in South Africa and Australia. So it will be installed in South Africa and Australia. And when we talk about array, so the meaning of the term array is that in a large area or a large tract of land, many antennas will be placed together. So you can see this image. So this is an array. It means many antennas are placed together. Then it will operate as one large unit meant to observe and study celestial phenomena. Celestial phenomena. Celestial means something which is related to space. Then SKAO objectives also include study of gravitational waves. So you need to remember, first of all, it is related to radio telescope. Then remember, headquarters is in UK. Then remember, India has become the full-time member. Then remember, the array will be installed in South Africa and Australia. And then remember, it also includes the study of gravitational waves. The examiner can ask you whether it is related only to the radio telescopes. No, it is also related to the gravitational waves. Then the next topic is X-ray polarimeter satellite. So recently ISRO has launched its first X-ray polarimeter satellite, also known as XPOSat. And whenever something happens for the first time, it becomes important and it becomes special and can be asked in the examination. Then the aim is to study X-ray polarization and its cosmic sources like black holes, neutron stars and magnetostars. And black holes, be very clear, the question has been asked in the preliminary examinations from the black holes. The mission is propelled by the PSLV C-58 rocket in low Earth orbit. PSLV is Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle in the low Earth orbit. Now, what is the meaning of the term low Earth orbit? Low Earth orbit is an orbit in which, or you can say, see, if there are, this is space. So if you will go in space, this is low Earth orbit, this is medium Earth orbit, and this is high Earth orbit. So low Earth orbit, you can say that the distance is somewhere around 160 kilometers to around 2000 kilometers, while the medium Earth orbit is something you can imagine from 2000 kilometers or 3000 kilometers to around 36,000 kilometers, while the high Earth orbit is above 36,000 kilometers. So the geostationary satellites is basically in the high Earth orbits. So low Earth orbits is the place where most of the satellites go and does their work, because it is easy to reach in space. So the XPOSat will also be propelled by PSLV C-58 rocket in low Earth orbit. Then XPOSat is only the world's second mission dedicated to X-ray polarization in the medium X-ray band. Medium X-ray band, it is a key term. Then it will be India's third space-based observatory following the recently launched solar mission Aditya L1 and AstroSat. So Aditya L1 is related to what? So Aditya L1 is related to Mercury, Venus, Sun, Earth. What is it related to and what it is going to observe? This question answer you will give me in the comment section. X-rays are electromagnetic radiations whose wavelength is 0.1 to 10 nanometers. So this is also important, knowing about the wavelength. It can be asked in the PCS examination also. Then the next point is CART cell therapy, C-A-R-T cell therapy. So the CART cell therapy, also known as chimeric antigen receptor T cell therapy. Antigen receptor T cell therapy. Now antigen is a term which can be used for any external substance which goes into the body and make the immune system of the body active, and that is when the immunity system of the body or the antibodies of the body starts to work. So it is a type of immunotherapy that uses a patient's own immune system to fight cancer. So CAR cell therapy is a type of immunotherapy. Immunotherapy means doing by its own, in which the patient's own immune system works to fight cancer. And CAR cell therapy has been approved for leukemias, and leukemia are a type of cancer and it is deadly in nature, and also for lymphomas which are arising from the lymphatic system, and leukemia is a cancer arising from the cells that produce white blood cells. So leukemia is very, very dangerous in nature. Now, if we will talk about the CAR therapy, so we also need to understand that how the CAR therapy works. So what happens is, if this is a CAR cell therapy, now what happens in this is that first of all, if that cancer is taking place, so the cells of the person or the patient will be taken, and in the lab then the CAR cells will be prepared, and then what will happen, these cells will be again injected back into the body of the patient, and these body of the patient, the CAR cells, they will start to form the white blood cells, and also it will boost the immunity system of the body, so that they will start to form antibodies, and these antibodies will fight against the antigen or the cancerous cells. So in the CAR cell therapy, the mechanism include that it uses the immune system of the person itself, and also the cancer cells are targeted in this. Then applications of the CAR cell therapy is leukemias or lymphomas, and the next CAR-19 has also given the CDSCO approval, and it is very, very important from India's respect. So this was about the CAR cell therapy, and it is often referred to as the living drugs. So CAR cell therapy is often referred to as the living drugs. And next CAR-19, remember this term, important from exam respect. Next CAR-19 is the first CAR cell therapy in India which has received CDSCO approval. So this is also first. So the first CAR cell therapy in India which has received CDSCO approval. The question can come in this sense also. So then the answer would be what? It is next CAR-19. Now the next topic is NanoDAP, that is NANODAP. So what has happened is that the finance minister in the interim budget for the year 2024-25 has announced the expansion of the application of NanoDAP. So expansion of the application of NanoDAP, and NanoDAP stands for diammonium phosphate. Diammonium phosphate. Important point from mains examination also and prelims examination also, because fertilizer topic can be asked in any of two. Then application of NanoDAP as a fertilizer on various crops in all agroclimatic zones of India. Now agroclimatic zones of India are many in number. It goes into number of like 125 plus agroclimatic zones. But if we talk about the major agroclimatic zones, then there are 15 major agroclimatic zones. So expansion of the application of NanoDAP as a fertilizer on various crops in all is the important word here, all agroclimatic zones of India. This is an important word. Then nano fertilizers are highly efficient type of fertilizers. So they are a highly efficient type of fertilizers that provide nutrients like nitrogen to crops through fine granules. So these nano fertilizers are important because they help in reaching the parts of the crops through nano granules. It means that even to the deepest points of the crops, the fertilizer goes, and they are efficient in nature, they are effective in nature, and they are made in a sense that they will provide benefits to the crops. Then NanoDAP is a specialized form of DAP designed with the goal, and the goal of it is to improve the fertilizer's effectiveness in promoting plant growth and development, and that is why it is considered important to use micronutrients as fertilizers. Then DAP is the second most commonly used fertilizer in India. So if DAP is the most commonly used fertilizer in India, then which is the most commonly used fertilizer in India? DAP is second. Which is the most commonly used fertilizer in India? It is which one? Urea. So the most commonly used fertilizer in India is urea, second most is DAP. So the benefits of DAP is higher crop yield, increase in farmers' income. So doubling of farmers' income is also one of the aim of the present government of India. Quality of food, so the food quality also increases, because if the essential nutrients, the crop will get the essential nutrients, then ultimately the quality will improve. Reduction in chemical fertilizer usage, so artificial usage and chemical usage will also come down. Then environment friendly, and this is the need of the hour also, easy to store and transport. So these are few of the benefits. Next topic is multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicle technology. So even though the name is lengthy, but it is multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicle technology. See, what we are giving it to you is what is important from the prelims aspect. What can be asked in your preliminary examination is what we are telling you majorly, and also need to say that what can be the importance or significance of it is important from the mains examination, and that is why we are majorly focusing on the keywords. So India has recently joined the select group of nations, and these select group of nations has the multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicle capabilities, and the term which you will see in news is MIRV capabilities, that is MIRV. So the nations which has MIRV technology with them. So now India also has it. This milestone was achieved through the successful flight of test named Mission Divya Astra. Mission Divya Astra, conducted by the DRDO, which is the Defense Research and Development Organization. So MIRV technology is basically a technology in which more than one, you can say, in which multiple warheads can be used, not only for a single target but for multiple targets. So the MIRV technology, the origin of the MIRV technology took place in the United States of America during the year 1970, and the capabilities are multiple warheads and independent targeting. So earlier only one warhead in one rocket, but now multiple warheads in one rocket, and different targets it can set for itself. So the effectiveness can be increased, targets can be taken, and then enhanced effectiveness. So the efficiency and effectiveness has also improved. So what happens is, MIRV technology originated in United States with the deployment of MIRV intercontinental ballistic missile in the year 1970. We just looked into it. Allows a single missile to carry multiple warheads, each capable of targeting different locations independently. Yes, this technology enhances the missile's effectiveness by increasing the number of potential targets it can engage. We have just discussed this. Now look at this image. Now what happens is, earlier there was, in normal missile there is only single warhead. So this is a normal missile, only one warhead is there, but under the MIRV technology more than one warheads is there. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. So multiple warheads is there. Now what happens is that in the normal missile, in the normal scenario and the normal missile, it will go and it will hit only one target. But under the MIRV technology, this is the missile, it is going, and imagine this is target number 1, this is target number 2, and this is target number 3. So it has multiple warheads. So from single missile, this warhead number 1 will hit target number 2, warhead number 2 will hit target number 2, and warhead number 3 will hit target number 3. So different targets are also taken into consideration through this, and the nations possessing MIRV technology, these nations are US, UK, France, Russia, China, and now India has also joined this group. Then if we talk about India's arsenal, so that can be surface to surface missiles if we talk about, then short range ballistic missiles, then Prithvi 1, 2, 3, Dhanush, Agni 1, Shaurya and Prahar. Then if we talk about the intermediate range ballistic missiles, so they are Agni 2, 3 and 4. Then if we talk about intercontinental range ballistic missiles, so they are Agni 5, Agni 6 and Surya. Then if we talk about the submarine launched ballistic missiles of India, then that is K-15 Sagarika and K-4. Then we have cruise missiles. Subsonic cruise missiles include Nirbhay, and supersonic cruise missile include BrahMos, and hypersonic cruise missile include BrahMos 2. Then if we talk about short range surface to air missiles, then it consists of Trishul, Akash, Maitri and Barak 8. Then if we talk about, then there is anti-tank guided missiles. It has Nag anti-tank missile, Helena helicopter. Then apart from this, if we talk about anti-ballistic missile, so there is Prithvi air defense system. Then there is advanced air defense missile. Then there is Prithvi defense vehicle. So these are the different arsenals of India. Then next topic if we talk about, so that is semiconductor chip manufacturing technology, one of the most burning topics of today's time. So the Tata Group has collaborated with Taiwan PSMB to establish a 300 millimeter wafer fabrication plant in Gujarat with plans to launch its initial 28 nanometer chip in the year 2026. So Tata Group plus Taiwan PSMC. Taiwan is one of the leading semiconductor chips maker in the world. So Tata Group plus Taiwan PSMC fabrication plant in Gujarat to prepare a chip that is 28 nanometer chip by the year 2026. Important points. Then semiconductor possess electrical conductivity properties, and these electrical conductivity properties are between conductor and insulator. Now conductor is a substance which conducts electricity, like for example copper, while insulator is a substance which does not conduct electricity, like glass, plastic. So semiconductor is in between of it. So if we talk about the semiconductor chips, so the functions can be processing data, storing information, controlling devices. Then fabrication technology can be chip creation and transistor creation. Material if we talk about, that is silicon wafer and germanium. So silicon and germanium are essential part of it. Structure if we talk about, it is small in size and microscopic switches it has. Then what are semiconductor chips? They are tiny electronic devices and they are made up of silicon or germanium. Remember this, silicon or germanium, which serves as the basic building block of most electronic circuits. Then these chips can contain billions of microscopic switches. Billions of microscopic switches, and the basic component of a semiconductor chip is a silicon wafer, which you will find in every chip. Then semiconductor chips is a tiny electronic device made up of silicon or germanium, we have already discussed. And then these chips perform various functions, and that can be processing data, storing information, controlling electronic devices. This also we have discussed. And the process of creating semiconductor devices like chips and transistors, it is known as fabrication technology. It means making up of semiconductor device. So all the parts of semiconductor devices are made first, and then the semiconductor devices are made. So this is a semiconductor device. It contains silicon wafer, laser check, microchip production, cutting, testing, microprocessor and microchip, X-ray inspection. So all these steps are followed in the making of a semiconductor. Then if we talk about the semiconductors in India, it is like for example, pure elements contain silicon and germanium, while the compounds if we talk about, then there is gallium arsenide and cadmium selenide. Then if we talk about the significance of semiconductors, they are essential to almost all sectors of the economy, like for example, aerospace, automobile, communication, clean energy, information technology and medical devices. Then semiconductors and India, if we talk about that, from where India is importing the semiconductor chips, there is China, Taiwan, US and Japan. And semiconductor market for India is, it is expected to reach USD 55 billion by the year 2026. So the market is expanding. Then if we talk about few of the schemes in India with regard to semiconductors, that is PLI scheme, production linked incentive, then there is design linked incentive scheme also. Then India semiconductor missions, if we talk about, then the vision is to build a vibrant semiconductor and display design ecosystem. It was launched in the year 2021. Nodal ministry was Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, and the total financial outlay was 76,000 crore rupees. And the components was setting up of semiconductor fabs. Fabs stands for fabrication units. Then scheme for setting up of display fabs. Then other DLI schemes also. So this was about semiconductor. More than enough for you to solve any kind of question on this. Now, where can the most chips be manufactured? So who is making the highest number of semiconductor chips? So that is South Korea around 25%, China 22%, Taiwan 22%, Japan 13%, America 8%, and many others. So South Korea, China, and Taiwan. Then the next topic is virtual private network. As the name itself is telling that it is virtual in nature. So Russia's tightening grip on online content in recent years has led to a significant surge in virtual private network usage among citizens. Surge means that the usage of the virtual private network is on a rise. Then it is a technology that establishes a secure and private connection between a user's device and the internet. Now what happens is that if any virtual private network is used, then the person's identity is not disclosed, is hidden, then the person becomes anonymous and the person's identification cannot be done. So VPN encrypts the internet traffic and disguises the user's online identity. So the online identity will not be identified, and it is a secure network and is a private connection. Then VPNs can bypass geo restrictions and censorship. So censorship and geo restrictions are also not put. Then by connecting to a VPN server in different locations, users can access content and websites that may be restricted or blocked in their region. So through this, because it is a private network, so imagine if you are sitting in India and if you want to access any content of Germany, you can do that. And if you are sitting in Germany and are uploading a video and want to upload a video for India, that also you can done through VPN, and your location will not be identified or disclosed. Then in the year 2022, the Indian Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, it has introduced regulations mandating VPN providers, data centers, virtual service networks, and also cloud providers to record users' personal details for 5 years. So the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, it is asking for record of data for 5 years. Now they must also log usage pattern and service purposes and report cyber security incidents in 6 hours to CERT. Within 6 hours, the cyber security incidents must be reported. Now how a VPN works? So in case of no VPN, normally how things work is, this is a user device, imagine your laptop, then you directly connect to the internet service provider, and then you can directly access the internet. But in case of a VPN, that is virtual provided network, what you do is, this is a user device, your laptop or my laptop, and in between there is a VPN client, and through this VPN client the internet service provider will be encrypted, and after that VPN server is what you will be directed to, and then you will access the internet, and through this VPN server your identity will not be disclosed. So what is a VPN is what we have understood. It is an opportunity to establish a protected network connection when using public networks. Then advantages is safety and location spoofing, while there are disadvantages also, that the internet speed might be slow, because in between the user, or in between you can say there is a VPN server, so that might reduce the speed. and also non-antivirus softwares can come into between. Then the next point is Mpox virus. So the next point is Mpox virus, and Mpox is also known as monkeypox, and it is a DNA virus. So there is an RNA virus and a DNA virus, and DNA virus has 2 strands, and that is why, and the full form is deoxyribonucleic acid, and it belongs to the family Poxviridae and consists of large and double-stranded DNA viruses. Then the virus was first identified in monkeys in the year 1958 and has since been found to infect humans as well. So it is infecting humans also, and it is primarily transmitted to humans from animals. So you can say it is zoonotic in nature. Then particularly rodents and primates through direct contact or through contaminated objects. So from animals to humans. While a vaccine for Mpox exists, so there is a vaccine for Mpox, its availability and effectiveness are limited, so it is not 100% effective, highlighting the need for improved prevention and control measures. Then Mpox gained global attention during a widespread outbreak and affected over 1 lakh people in more than 118 countries in the year 2022-23. So the number of cases was on a surge. Then according to the WHO has declared Mpox as a public health emergency. So difference between smallpox, monkeypox and chickenpox. So smallpox virus is variola virus, monkeypox virus is monkeypox virus, and chickenpox virus is varicella zoster virus. If we talk about severity, smallpox is highly severe and often fatal. It means it takes life also. Monkeypox is milder than smallpox and it is rarely fatal, while chickenpox is mild in nature. If we talk about the status, then smallpox was eradicated in the year 1980. Monkeypox is endemic in Central and West Africa, and cases are also emerging other side and outside Africa. And chickenpox is common childhood illness. Then if we talk about transmission, so smallpox is highly contagious through respiratory droplets. Monkeypox is spread through contact with the infected animals, zoonotic in nature. Chickenpox is highly contagious through respiratory droplets. So if we talk about vaccination, then in smallpox, vaccination is no longer needed. Monkeypox, not routinely recommended, may be given to high-risk individual in the cases where fatality can take place. While in chickenpox, routine vaccination for children and adults. Now, coming to the last point or the last topic of the day, so that is Tiantong project. Tiantong project. And after this topic, there is a practice question also given for you people in the comment section. So apart from the questions that I have asked in the video, you will also have to answer the question which is given in the comment section, and I will be going through all the answers that you people give. Tiantong project. So the Chinese engineers and scientists have created the world's first satellite enabling smartphones to make calls without mobile towers. So even if mobile towers are not there, then also mobile calls can be made, and the Chinese engineers has done this. And the aim is that during emergencies where mobile connectivity may be disrupted, this technology can be used. People can directly seek help by connecting to an overhead communication orbiter, and each Tiantong satellite is designed to have a lifespan of around 12 years. Important point to remember. Then the next topic is Indian Space Situational Assessment Report 2023, among one of the few. So Indian Space Situational Assessment Report 2023 is ISRO has released Indian Space Situational Assessment Report for the year 2023, and it provides a comprehensive overview of the current state of India's space assets and their vulnerability to potential collision in space, so that no collision in space should take place. Then in the year 2023, all 7 launches of ISRO, and the 7 launches of ISRO had been SSLV D2 EOS7, LVM3 M3, OneWeb 2, PSLV C55, TEL EOS2, LVM3 M4, Chandrayaan 3, then PSLV C57, Aditya L1, they were all successful. And as of 31st December 2023, India has 22 operational satellites in low Earth orbit and 29 in geostationary orbit. Then there are 3 active Indian deep space missions like Chandrayaan 2 orbiter, Aditya L1 and Chandrayaan 3 propulsion module. So this was the last point, and like always, like what I ask you to do in the end is you need to give me the answer of the practice question which is pinned in the comment section, and I will be going through it. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Till we meet next time, keep reading, keep writing and keep subscribing to the channel. Thank you.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.